The secret gospel, lost in the shadows of history. What if Jesus had revealed a hidden plan about the apocalypse, a script that never reached the public? Imagine a text that contains the keys to understanding the true end of the world, a document so powerful that the Vatican chose to silence it. What was behind this decision? Would these words of Christ be so impactful that they could shake the foundations of faith? While many believe they know the story, few know that there are mysteries kept under lock and key. What could this banned gospel reveal about the final days? What if the narrative we were taught was nothing more than an edited version of reality? Get ready to dive into a universe where each lost page carries secrets capable of transforming the understanding of the biblical apocalypse. Jesus' hidden words may be more than mere prophecies. They can be a warning of what is to come. The details of this secret gospel have the power to change everything. Are you ready to explore these hidden truths and confront what has been kept silent? The revealed apocalypse may be closer than you think. The idea of a lost gospel has always intrigued scholars and the curious. This supposed secret gospel would be a source full of revelations about the apocalypse. Many believe it could contain teachings that were excluded from canonical scriptures. The hypothesis is based on historical fragments and ancient documents that suggest the existence of texts that have not reached us. This leads to questions about what else could be hidden over the centuries. Researchers have looked for clues in the works of ancient historians, such as Flavius Josephus, who mentioned several lost writings. The search for this gospel is not just curiosity, but an attempt to better understand the beliefs that shaped Christian spirituality. Some argue that, if found, this text could offer a more complete view of Jesus' message and what comes after life. Furthermore, the secret gospel theory raises questions about the authenticity of the texts we have today. Were they really representative of Jesus' original teachings? Or was there a narrative that was shaped to fit specific dogmas? Many believe that the discovery of this gospel could radically change our understanding of Christianity. The search for this gospel also touches on emotional and spiritual aspects. For many, the idea of hidden knowledge can be fascinating and even comforting, as it offers hope that the truth about the apocalypse is more complex than previously thought. This search for answers is a reflection of the human desire to understand the unknown and what awaits us in the future. The theory of the secret gospel continues to generate heated debates among theologians, historians, and anyone interested in the subject. Each new discovery or theory fuels the collective imagination and search for answers about life, death, and what comes next. The history of the Catholic Church is marked by decisions that shape the trajectory of Christianity. One of the most debated issues is the suppression of texts considered apocryphal. The Vatican, over the centuries, took steps to limit access to certain writings, which were seen as threats to orthodoxy. This action raises many discussions about what the Vatican feared in suppressing these texts. Many scholars believe that the motivation behind this suppression was to maintain control over the interpretation of Jesus' teachings. If alternative texts were released, they could create confusion in the faith of the faithful and possibly divide the Church. This concern with the unity of doctrine led the Church to adopt a strict stance regarding what could be accepted as truth. Furthermore, this suppression had profound implications for the formation of Christian theology. By excluding writings that could offer different perspectives, the Catholic Church consolidated a narrative that had prevailed for centuries. This has resulted in many fundamental concepts of the Christian faith being based on a limited set of texts. This history of control and suppression also leads us to reflect on freedom of expression and access to knowledge. What would it mean for contemporary Christians if these texts were revealed now? The possibility of a new interpretation of Jesus' teachings could challenge the faith of many, but it could also offer new opportunities for understanding. Ultimately, the Vatican's relationship with sacred texts reveals much about the dynamics between faith, power, and knowledge. While some defend the need for a unified doctrine, others call for a diversity of voices that enrich Christian spirituality. When comparing the revelation of John with the secret gospel hypothesis, several interesting questions arise. Both texts deal with the theme of the end times, but the descriptions and approach are quite different. Revelation, for example, is full of vivid imagery and symbolism, while the secret gospel could bring a more direct and revealing perspective. This difference in style generates discussions about which text really reflects the teachings of Jesus. The similarities are also worth noting. Both Revelation and the secret gospel can address themes such as salvation and the final judgment, but the nuances in their narratives can offer new insights. The idea of how the world will end and what will happen to humanity is fascinating and scary at the same time. This comparison can help understand how different groups interpreted these messages over time. Furthermore, this comparative analysis can reveal the theological concerns of each text. The Revelation of John, written in a context of persecution, emphasizes hope and final victory over evil. On the other hand, the secret gospel, if it exists, could bring to light more intimate and personal questions about the relationship between the human being and the divine. This difference in focus can impact the way people relate to prophecies. Another important question is how these narratives influence the faith of Christians. For many, Revelation is a warning of what is to come, while the secret gospel can offer a new perspective that challenges the traditional view. This diversity of interpretations is fundamental for the evolution of Christian thought and the understanding of spirituality. The comparison between these texts not only enriches the theological debate, but also invites reflection on the nature of faith itself. How do different narratives shape the way we perceive the world and what awaits us? This question continues to resonate among those who seek to understand the mysteries of spirituality and the apocalypse. When we think about the possibility of a secret gospel, deep questions about the Christian faith soon arise. If this lost text actually existed and contained teachings different from those we know, it could shake the foundations of traditional theology. For example, there may be a new interpretation of the apocalypse, which is a central theme in the Bible. The vision of the end times could be more complex and less linear than that presented in the Revelation of John. Furthermore, the idea of salvation could be re-evaluated. The hidden gospel could offer a different perspective on who can be saved and how. This could open up a range of interpretations that challenge the exclusivity of certain Christian doctrines. People might wonder, is salvation really as restricted as previously believed? This type of questioning could generate an intense debate between different schools of thought within Christianity. The nature of Jesus would also be at stake. If the secret gospel brought a different view of his divinity or humanity, it could affect the fundamental beliefs of millions of believers. For many, the divinity of Christ is an unshakable pillar of faith. Thus, any evidence suggesting an alternative understanding could lead to a crisis of faith for some, while others could see it as an opportunity to expand their spiritual understanding. Furthermore, this new understanding could generate divisions within the church itself. More conservative groups may resist any change, while more progressive communities may embrace the news. This internal tension could result in an even more fragmented religious landscape, where different interpretations coexist and compete with each other. The discovery of a hidden gospel would not only alter theology but also influence religious practice. New traditions and rituals could emerge, based on teachings that were previously out of reach. This would make the religious experience more dynamic, reflecting the human need to seek and question. Apocryphal Gospels, such as the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, play a significant role in modern theology. These texts challenge the dominant narrative and offer new perspectives on Jesus and his teachings. When discovered and studied, they provoke deeper reflection on what it means to be a Christian today. These writings, often considered heretical by the Church, bring to light ideas that can be revolutionary. For example, the Gospel of Thomas, which presents a more mystical and less dogmatic Jesus, suggests that the search for spiritual knowledge is fundamental. This message resonates with many who feel alienated from traditional religious practices and seek a more personal and direct connection with the divine. Furthermore, the presence of female figures such as Mary Magdalene in some of these apocryphal texts challenges the patriarchal view of Christian history. By giving a voice to characters who have often been silenced, these Gospels promote a more inclusive and diverse discourse. This can inspire new faith communities that value gender equality and diversity. The apocryphal Gospels also serve as an invitation to reinterpret canonical scriptures. They urge theologians and scholars to revisit biblical passages in a new light, questioning whether traditional interpretations truly capture the essence of the original messages. This re-evaluation can lead to an enrichment of the practice and spiritual life of many believers. The influence of these texts on modern theology is not restricted to academic circles. They have the potential to impact popular culture and the way people relate to faith. Documentaries, books, and public debates about these Gospels are becoming increasingly common, encouraging open dialogue about spirituality and the search for meaning in contemporary life. Modern society has a curious relationship with theories about the apocalypse. In times of uncertainty, many are drawn to predictions about the end of the world. This fascination is not new, but it gains strength with the ease of access to information and the popularization of apocalyptic themes in the media. Books, films, and series explore this theme, reflecting an interest that seems to have no end. The apocalypse has become a cultural phenomenon that goes beyond religion, entering pop culture and entertainment in general. Religious movements also appropriate this idea. Groups from different Christian persuasions, for example, often interpret current events as signs of the end of times. They may see natural disasters, social or political crises as harbingers of a great transformation. This creates an environment of fervor and expectation where prophecies are discussed and interpreted, and the urgency to share these messages intensifies. With each new event, the discussion about the apocalypse reignites in communities. In literature, the apocalypse is a recurring theme, from science fiction classics to contemporary novels. Authors use apocalyptic scenarios to explore deep human issues such as survival, morality, and the nature of society. These stories often reflect fears and anxieties of today's world, such as climate change and political conflicts, showing that fiction becomes a mirror of reality. The apocalypse, in this context, is not just an ending, but an opportunity for reflection and social criticism. Cinema also plays an important role in how we perceive the apocalypse. Films about disasters or post-apocalyptic worlds attract large audiences and generate discussions about what it means to be human in extreme conditions. In addition to entertaining, these productions provoke questions about ethics, survival, and interpersonal relationships. The apocalypse becomes a scenario where characters are tested and often reveal their true natures, which fascinates the audience. Pop culture, with its diverse expressions, continues to fuel the collective imagination about the end of times. Games, comics, and TV series approach the apocalypse in innovative and creative ways. This keeps the topic fresh and relevant, allowing people to connect and discuss their interpretations and fears. Thus, the apocalypse remains not only a frightening possibility, but a rich topic that provokes reflection, debate, and why not hope in difficult times. And so, we come to the end of our journey through one of the most intriguing mysteries in history, the secret gospel of Jesus. But what do you think? Did the Vatican really hide this text to prevent the truth about the apocalypse from reaching us? Imagine how our lives and beliefs would change if we knew exactly what Jesus had to say about the end times. The questions persist. What secrets still remain hidden in the shadows of history? And how many powerful truths are hidden in the apocryphal texts, waiting to be revealed? We invite you to reflect on this. What other religious mysteries would you like to explore? Do you believe there are more lost gospels out there? Share your theories in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new revelations. Each week we dive deeper into riddles that challenge what we know about our faith and history. Join us in this search for the truth and discover together what else is hidden beneath the surface of our reality.